Please ensure your mics are muted so that we can enjoy this webinar without distraction. My name is Ebele, once more, and I'll be your host for this webinar. I'm the community manager of Study Hub's Digital Academy. And what's that? Study Hub's Digital Academy, there, we train young individuals on premium digital skills so that they can get access to a high-paying job. Today with us, we have Osahon Okoh. He's going to be our speaker for this webinar. Osahon Okoh is a project manager with the Edo State Economic Management, and he tracks and brings to perspective projects. He interprets data and brings more sense to those data. Through his wealth of experience, he's going to build on the theme of time management. You can connect with him through all social medias via Osahon Okoh. So over to you, Mr. Osahon. We are very happy to hear from you this evening.
Thank you, Billy. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is going to be more of an interactive session. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking. Then we have the rest session to be very, very much interactive because in my opinion, we're here to share perspectives. We're here to learn from each other here. So I'll be sharing on time management on the workplace. Let me share my screen with you. But the thing is this, we all have a perception about time management. And I remember the conversation I had yesterday with Billy. It was quite interesting because somehow when it comes to time management, we all have different perspectives and different ways of saying it. But in the workplace, if there's anything you don't have much, it's time, because at the end of the day, you want to cover so much, you want to do so much, and you have limited time to actually cover them. So I was sharing a story of, I think yesterday, we shared a story of yesterday how COVID was a very trying period. This is my own story. For me, COVID was a very trying period for me, and in the sense that it's kind of stretched me in one corner. One where I had my conventional work, COVID or no COVID, government work must continue, and everything has to continue. And two, we're baffled with the work for responding, the state's response to COVID-19, and that was more like another additional work placed on me. But mind you, we all have 24 hours to achieve that, or that's much. So then I also had my own priorities, when I say priorities, personal development to work on. And I had, like I said yesterday, I had a 1-year course that started up April this year, and it's meant to end April next year, 2021. But I was able to do my conventional office work. I was able to do function very well with the COVID-19 response. Like Edo State had the best COVID-19 response so far in the state, in the country. And also, I was able to complete that 1-year course within 5 months. So at the end of the day, it brings a perspective that sometimes, yes, we know we have limited time, which is the 24 hours we have, but still we have an opportunity to squeeze and prioritize. And that's part of what I will be sharing more. So I guess you can see my screen, Billy.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so we'll go to put our tip for today. So I feel it's more of prioritizing. The whole thing about time management, yes, conventional. I remember when growing up in school, we had timetable in school. We had, this is how we do things, and these topics for between this time and this time. And if you notice how it was well structured, you notice that mathematics most times comes in the morning. I don't know if you can recall. Mathematics comes in the morning. All those difficult subjects usually come in the morning because it's believed that at that moment, in the morning hours, you are at your peak and you tend to be very, very, very productive. And at that moment, you should be imputing your energy into things that would actually demand a lot of alertness. Sorry. So when you talk about time management, in my opinion, and from my experience, I'll tell you time management is about prioritizing. We say yes, there is no time. Yes, there is no time. We all have 24 hours, and the man on the streets begging has 24 hours. The man in the office has 24 hours. The man flying the jet has 24 hours. The man cleaning the house has 24 hours. So that tells you that if there's anything that we as humans have as a gift is time, and is given to us equally. Then another thing also we should put into perspective is money and assets are recoverable. But when you lose time, you've lost so much. Money and assets, you can lose money, you can gain it back. You can lose assets, you can gain it back. You can lose properties, you can gain it back. But time, when you lose time, you've lost a whole lot. Because one, today's date is 29th. There will never be another 29th of September 2020. We only have that. So that tells us that, uh,
Sorry,
yeah.
Kayo Bukola can't hear you. I think can everyone hear what he's saying?
Okay, if you can hear me, please place a comment. Just say yes on the comment section so that we can move on. Boy Billy, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Please go on.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. So, like I said, there is always time if priority is actually set right. So, a model that I have found to be very productive. Personally, I've used it for personal work and as well as workplace as a workplace tool is this one, the Eisenhower's decision metrics. This is quite an interesting model. So here you have priorities laid out and says important, not important, urgent and not urgent, and everything placed in different quadrants. What we have here is 4 quadrants, which tells you that there are some activities that are important, but are urgent. There are activities also that's also important but not urgent. There are activities that are not important, but they are also urgent. And there are also activities that are not important and not urgent. But mind you, this falls into context. I would explain. For example, if you can see the screen very well, under not important but not important and not urgent, you see an example like social media. I can't place, for example, if I am a digital marketer, I won't place social media under not important and not urgent. So that tells you that everything falls under perspective. But if you look at the general idea, there's kind of a guide that puts perspective to whatever we should be doing, activities we should focus on. So we have the first quadrant, important and urgent. It says do it. Things with clear deadlines and consequences for not taking immediate action. So here, you know that, see, like, for example, finishing a client's project, submitting a draft article, responding to some emails, picking up your sick kid from the school. Now, these ones are important, are urgent, because you know you have to do it. If you don't do it, the consequences that follows is going to be severe. We also have another category of tasks that are important but not necessarily urgent. Funny enough, these activities without the set deadlines that bring you closer to your goals, easy to procrastinate, like strategic planning. Strategic planning, in my opinion, you can have, for me, if I want to have a strategic planning session, it works for me at night. nights, evenings, nights session, because that's when I'm kind of cool. That's for me anyway. So that's strategic planning, networking, if some kind of events, professional developments. Like the example I gave, I spent most times when I go home, I'm very tired. I had a slogan for myself. I said, every day one model, every day one model, every day one episode of the lessons I needed to handle. So that helps me to actually create little milestones in achieving that goal altogether. We have another category of tasks that you could tag as not important and urgent. They are not important, but they are urgent. Now, you talk about things that need to be done, but don't require your specific skill. It's tagged here as busy work. So, for example, uploading blog posts, scheduling, responding to some emails, meal preps. These could be delegated to other persons. And if you run a high energy team, you understand that yes, these ones could be done by any person. So I shouldn't even be placing these things in the morning hours, for example, for this for me. I shouldn't be placing these tasks in the morning hours. These tasks should be placed.
Sorry, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, please. There's a small challenge. Your presentation is small, so you will need to represent so that everybody can see it.
Oh,
It's a very small thing.
it's very
Thank you.
small.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let me do an adjustment to that. Okay. So maybe what we could do, we could mail this to everyone that's present. Does that work for us? Hello?
That's
Does
fine.
that's fine, right?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So we mail this to Ebele, that's on you. We'll just mail this to everyone present here, so they just get to go through. Okay, Miriam says that's okay. Okay, that's fine. That's just great. So I can continue, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So we have just a moment. Okay, better. So we have that category is best delegated. Then you have the fourth one here that says delete it. Now, this delete it is not really delete it, just keep it aside. Okay, so it says distractions that make you feel worse afterwards can be okay, but only in moderation. Like I said, when we started up, I said when it comes to time management, it's best handled in context. So for example, the first example given here is social media. Someone that does digital marketing or is an online influencer or someone that in that category, social media, anything around social media is under the first category, which is do it. You get, but for some persons, it's not really a priority, okay? But this the description there gives context to the whole to what you should be placing, tasks that you should be placing over there. So it says distractions that make you feel worse or so these things are really not urgent and they're equally not important. So they could be left for um, as maybe side distraction because mind you, in as much as we say that's why I said leave that delete it, is just keep it aside, but you need those distractions to have your to create some balance in your own life as well. So in my opinion, I believe time management helps us to handle expectations very effectively. And whether you like it or not, time is limited. And like we said, time is limited. You need to, for the sake of corporate goals and your own corporate culture, you need to have that engraved in everything you do. in the whole activities you do. Also, there's need for personal discipline. If you've mastered the art of keeping to time, it's going to save you money. It's going to save you. It's going to save you some unnecessary stress and inconveniences. So imagine yourself. You have to go to. You live in Lagos, for example, and you need to go to an event. Knowing the nature of how Lagos is, traffic is a constant. Living on time gives you a privilege of not just being at the events on time, but also puts your mind at rest, and it all helps you to be able to be more productive in the event you are going to. So when we talk about the importance and why time management, it's the application is quite broad. Like we said, time is limited, but you have to manage it. We all have 24 hours. Whether you're in the US, you're in Nigeria, you're in Congo, we all have 24 hours. So this is where I will stop, and we'll get to engage ourselves together. I will entertain questions, but before we take questions, I want us to use this Eisenhower's decision-making matrix with someone that does something. We need someone to volunteer. Let's talk about how it applies to you in your own personal business. So, Ebele, I don't know how you get to manage that. We need a volunteer, someone. Let's talk about what he or she does and how it applies to their own business.
So anyone that would like to volunteer, you can just, okay, someone has volunteered.
Okay, that's if it's Aseri Okoh. Okay, so Mr. Okoh, please tell us what you do, and let's use this model to see how it works.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm really happy to be given the opportunity to volunteer, and I think I love the framework you showed earlier. So, okay, what I do, I'm a lecturer. I'm also a research student, and I do I write content for technology also. So those are like the main three things. So I'm a lecturer, I'm a research student, and I write content for technology.
Okay, that's beautiful. Can you give us a brief, more like a list of activities you handle in a day, so we have a perspective to the things, your typical day, how is it like?
Okay, my typical day is I wake up and I have a number of research papers to read and comprehend them, the right.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you get a sheet of paper and write?
Okay.
And so we'll make this much more practical.
Okay. So what do you want me to write?
Give us a typical example. Give us give us 8 activities you do in a day.
Okay.
Yes. Now,
okay.
In a day, it has nothing to do. It's not all work. It's your typical schedule.
Okay.
Yes, a typical schedule for a day.
Okay. Read research articles.
Okay, you can write that down.
Research articles, okay. Then do a summary of everything I've read.
Okay, when you say read, what do you mean by read?
Nice. The research articles I read every day, so I have to like a summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I have to write down some tweets related to the technological field I'm interested in and schedule them. So tweet schedules, schedules. Then I work as like a monitoring and evaluation officer in my church. So they normally have their daily tasks too, which I still have to attend to. So I have M&E activities. And yeah, those are like the core four. I think the others are really, really minor, but those are like the
No
core four.
matter how minor, we need to know them
Then I
because
have
whether
to
you like it or not, it has a space in your brain. And
Okay, then I have to carry my baby. Carry my
Mhm.
baby.
So it's an
Yeah,
activity.
I think yeah, it's an activity. So carry the baby, feed the baby. I'm trying to remember other activities I have to do. Then I have a book I'm currently reading. So I have to read that like maybe a chapter or two a day.
Okay.
Then I have many courses I'm supposed to be taking, but I don't really have enough time to take them now. So yeah, so that's it.
Okay, so let's use this model. Let's use this model and try to categorize them into this using the Heisenhower's decision matrix. Can you categorize all these activities into the different quadrants?
Let me try putting to
So for every one of us online, we're trying to see how we can make this very much practical. Um, Mind you, while we wait for Mr. Okoro to work on that, mind you, and this approach, using the Eisenhower's decision metrics, it's not like we're not saying that at once you're going to master the acts at once and have all your activities written down, you have all your tasks and place them into quadrants. Yes, at the beginning, first 3 months, if you want to, perfect. But if the nature of what you do does not allow for that, you can have a mental picture of whatever your task is and say, okay, this is where I'm placing this, this is where I'm placing this. And somehow there could be the temptation of, okay, I need to fix, oh, let me pick up my phone and check what's happening. Let me see what Big Brother Nigeria just ended, right? And let me see who is trending today. You get those things are important just as distractions anyway. But whether you like it or not, those things like that are actually important to you. But it's what matters is not your activity or should I say your involvement in those things, but how well you're able to synchronize all that into your own productivity plan as well. So imagine you, for example, if you own a business or you run a team, a team that's on a project, you have no excuse and say it's because I had to take care of something, I was sent errands, or I needed to watch some show. But you know that, yes, but still, you need to handle everything at the same time. So what the Heisenhower's decision metrics does is to help to put everything we need to do into perspective and say, okay, this one falls into this one falls into this falls into this. So that's it. Mr. Okoro, are you done? Let's see how we could group the activities.
Okay, just give me 1 more minute and I'll share it with you guys.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. While we wait for you, let's have questions. I would love us to ask questions. Thank God we are just few. So if everyone could ask a question, I would be very grateful because it puts perspective. Like I said earlier when we started, I said we're here to share knowledge and we're here to share perspective into time management in the workplace. So this is where we get questions. While we wait for Mr. Okoro. So if you don't want to talk, you could just type your questions on the comment section. That also works. Right, Ebele?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you could share your questions on the comment section or you unmute your mic and ask questions.
Sorry, some persons are just joining in, so I think they didn't see
Oh,
your previous slide. So I think
oh,
if you could share just that slide, so they could maybe participate in the activity.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank
That's
you.
fine. That's fine. Okay, so I guess we'll get, let's go through the Eisenhower decision metrics. I think that's the most important part of the slide currently. So just give me, while we wait, why that comes up, Mr. Okoh, are you done?
Okay, I have some things here. Let me see if I
Okay,
can I share my
okay.
screen? Is that
No, okay,
okay?
just wait. Let me wait a minute. Let me just um, we have some a few new persons here. Okay, we can see this, right?
Yes, we can. We can see.
Okay, okay. It's, you can pin, if you know you can't see it very well, you could pin the slide. So went through there's an echo. Went through the Eisenhower's decision metrics. I said from my experience, this has been more of a mental tool for time management for me, because it has helped to place activities into perspective. We have tasks. The truth is, we have series of tasks every day, but we know that the most productive time in the workplace, for example, is the morning hours. And at that time, you want to prioritize activities that focus, that are more energy draining, and also activities that require a whole lot of alertness. So this metrics puts to perspective all what's we could, how we, or should I say, yeah, how we could fix activities. So we have important and urgent, we have important and not urgent, we have not important but urgent, we have activities that are not important as well, and also not urgent. Like we said, everything you see here is in context. Everything you see here is in context. That's why we had to bring someone to do an example. We had to get example from the house. Here you have the first quadrant says important and urgent, do it, things with clear deadlines and consequences for not taking action. So for example, if you work in an office place, um, finishing a client's project, if you're a student, attending lectures, doing your assignments. So stuff like that, they are very, very important, and equally they are urgent. Then we have also tasks that are important, but they are really, really, really not urgent. So you have things like strategic planning, personal development, like um, reading of books, going through blogs, the self-development blogs and stuff, networking and events, exercise. They're actually important, but if you look at it very well, they are not really, really urgent. And you could actually have a section of your time for that. You also have another category of tasks that are not important, but they are urgent. So the fact that they are important, they are not they are urgent, tells you that they need to be attended to, but they are not important. It means that you don't really need your expertise on those tasks. So the best thing to do, as much as possible, like I said, everything here is in context. As much as possible is to delegate it. We also have another category of activities that are not important and not urgent. Whether you like it or not, we all have that, those activities. For me, it's getting my phone and scrolling through my phone and going through Instagram, going through Twitter, and going through Facebook. That is for me. But that may not be for someone that's into digital marketing. For someone that's into digital marketing, anything around social media could be under the first quadrant, which is important and urgent, or someone that's an influencer or in that category, does line of work in that category. Those activities will be under that first quadrant, important and urgent. So you see that everything is in context, but this gives you a mental picture of prioritizing. So its application is not necessarily for you to now, if you want to, fine, if you can cope with that. But for me, I know I can't cope with that. Writing all these activities down and saying, okay, this is important, this is urgent, I place a sticky notes or something. But having a mental picture, but if that would help, maybe within first 3 months, you have to master the act and say, okay, this thing is important, this thing is urgent. But that could help to an extent. So this helps to put perspective into your activities and help you have a well-optimized day or a well-optimized team. So in the corporate world, we believe so much that if you lose money, if you lose assets, you can gain those things back, whether you like it or not. You can gain money back, you can gain asset back, you can gain a whole lot of properties back. But if you lose time, whether you like it or not, they can never be another 29th of September 2020. So time lost can be gained back, unless maybe some redemption or something. Okay. So we have that as a full-time awareness. Then we also believe that time is limited, and when it comes to your expectations, be it for personal development, for corporate goals and culture, you need to manage time like seriously. And also something I also noticed recently, a time well managed helps you manage finances as well. So imagine if you were going for, I'm trying to get a perfect example now. Okay, let's use the usual example. You're supposed to register for something, and they tell you between so and so time there is a discount price for this and this, and you know it's very important to you. You're going for it. You know, yes, this is what I'm going for. And you're like, let me do it later on. Let me do it later on. So there's this human side of procrastinating activities like that, knowing that close to the deadline it becomes expensive, or it's out of sales, or it's out of stock, or whatever. So from my own experience, I also believe that managing time helps to manage expectations, helps to manage resources, be it finance and whatever it is you have as your resource in your organization. Also, it helps to create adaptation for corporate goals and also maintaining a culture. So imagine for an organization that is known to not keep to time, and people want to engage with you, people want to talk, people want to get to know what you do, but the first perception they have about you is these guys don't keep to time. In their head is these guys are not ready for business. They are not. So no matter whatever plan you have, no matter whatever the structure or how wow your product is, your product is going nowhere because there's already a perception management. So by perception management about your organization already. So time also helps to manage perception for organizations as well. So these were the major things we shared on the slide. So let's get back to Mr. Okoh, why he gives us, let's get to practicalize how this works. There's who has decision metrics and how people could apply it to their everyday lives.
Okay, so I will try and share my screen now. I was lucky to find this online tool that makes it easy, because else I will have to use like a spreadsheet for it. But
okay, that's fine.
Okay, this one. Okay, I don't know if everybody can see my screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is
So can you see the four quadrants?
okay, this is good.
Okay. So for my do now, I have the things that are really important to me because I'm trying to finish my program as soon as possible. So I do more reading and summarizing, but I have to feed the baby. So it's also very, very important because to me, that one is even more priority because it will just keep crying. Then as Chris says, we read the Bible, so it's quite important. Then also manage some client websites. So it's something that I have to do. I can't put it anywhere else. It will be a lot of work for me. But for delegation, most of my monitoring and evaluation activities is something I can break down and give to other people to do. Then for scheduling, it's okay for tweets. Thank God for automation tools. You can always schedule tweets over many days.
Perfect.
And for the
Perfect.
book I'm reading, I know I can do it some other time. And the things I need to read on Twitter and everything, I know I can do that another time. Then you also said for elimination, it's not like we are deleting it, but we are just putting it aside for later. So I get a lot of random product ideas, so just write it down. So it's like more of this is not high priority anymore, but it's still part of things I do, but not high priority. So I don't know if I did it well.
This is to me. This is perfect. I don't believe that there's something called. Should I say you did a
What?
good job. So this, like I said, the whole idea of the Eisenhower's metrics is in context. So every activity here has been placed into different quadrants as it applies to you as a person. You get?
Yeah.
Yes. So for me, for example, I'm not married yet, so feeding a baby, I don't have the baby to feed. You get the point. So like I said, everything here is in context. So this is just perfect. This is just perfect. So
Thank
this is perfect. Thank you very much. So back to the question. I think we're getting questions. Ebele, do you get to read the questions while I answer, or how do we do it?
Yes, I'll read the question.
Okay.
We have a question from Johnson. Now he asked, when someone has a lot to do and is confused on how to complete all the tasks and still end up not finishing the task, how should such person apply time management?
So Johnson, this is my thoughts. Like when we started up, we said time management is first about prioritizing. Um, you have just 24 hours in a day. You have just 12 months in a year. You have just 365 days in a year. And you only have just 7 days in a week. Uh, the best way is to have these things written down. That have these things written down. For me, I have a diary. It's always by my side, it's like my baby, and it helps me put perspective to everything I need to do in a day, be it in a day, in a week. So the best approach I believe is to jot them down, write them down, list the things you need to do. Confused. The question is, what is confusing? What is causing the confusion? Is it how bulky the things are? Sometimes, what causes confusion around tasks could be that we've not written them down because they are just in our head. And when we have lots of them in our head, it's bigger than when we have them on paper. When you have lots of tasks in your head, it becomes bigger. It tends to be bigger rather than what you have on paper. So this is my thoughts. Write them down, and schedule time. And also there's this tendency for us to, when scheduling time, we say, okay, there's this tendency for us to not to be realistic with our time scheduling and say, okay, I have 24 hours. I'm going to, for example, if you're a website designer, you say, I'm going to build a website from morning till this. I'm going to do this from morning till like 6 p.m. I'll sit down. I'm not going anywhere. Yes, you may be able to do that, but in my own opinion, you also need some time to get your head straight. You also need some distraction. Schedule the distraction also. Schedule everything that you need to do in there. So the first step is write them down. Second step, allot time to it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure Johnson was able to get that. We have another question from Mariam. Now she said, how can I really differentiate what is important and urgent and important and not urgent? They are both
Nice.
important and quite confusing.
Okay, okay. So how can I really differentiate between what is important and urgent and important and not urgent? Okay, if we go through, I think the beautiful thing is we're going to share this slide. We share this slide with us, but let me share a part of it. Let me share that aspect with us so we get to see. If you can see this very well, it says important and urgent. It says things with clear deadlines and consequences for not taking immediate action. Now, these are activities that are important but are urgent. Things, they have deadlines. Activities that are important and urgent, they have deadlines. And if you don't do them, you know. And they gave examples that finishing a client's project, submitting a draft article. Now, like I said, everything is in context. So Miriam, if depends on what you do, know that those activities that have deadlines are important and urgent. The ones that we tag important but not urgent, activities without a set deadlines that bring you closer to your goals. You get, so the difference between the both of them is the deadlines, the aspect of deadlines. So if, if you have deadlines to them, know that they are important and they are urgent. Deadlines, fine, they are important but not urgent. But mind you, a task that is important and urgent today could fall under important and not urgent, and vice versa. So it's like I said, everything is in context, and it also depends on what you do as a person. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown.
Over to you.
Thank you very, very,
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Please, if there are more questions, feel free to drop them on the chat session, or you can unmute your mic.
I think this is the part I will actually want people to unmute their mic.
You know, me, I've always heard of time management, and I've not really I've not seen how important it is for us to have that skill. It's a skill and something that we need to develop over time. I remember there were times that in fact, me, I'm still learning. Let's put it that way. I'm still learning how to be on time, how to manage time. Yes.
We are all
And sometimes
learning.
when I see some person, they're able to do so many things at the same time. I don't know if there is, maybe you have an experience to share regarding that at your workplace. How are you able to manage time or combine all everything together?
So my life is more like, my life at this phase is more like that already, because yes, I have my role in government to work with at the economic management team. I also have, before I joined government, I also have organizations that I co-founded. I'm more like a team lead, and that's Junior Tech Africa, like you know, and also have other obligations too. In fact, I think I've learned that aspect of having multiple, I call it multiple identity. So because if you look at it very well, look at yourself, Ebele. To your teammates, you are the community manager, am I right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so your mother, who are you?
A daughter,
Beautiful.
a cook.
So your siblings, who are you?
Um, the one that brings the law.
Eh, good. You're a sister, you get the point. So if you have other organizations you are part of, right? You are something
Yeah.
there. So that tells you that
Yeah.
by default, we live that life of multiple roles already. Okay, I think, okay, let me even share a story with you. So, back then in university, somehow I served as in school Christian fellowship. I was general secretary, and that was in my second level. And what it meant then was I was actually in charge of the administration of a fellowship of over 2,000 persons. And I had other secretaries that were working more like that have to direct. There were about 7 of them. And I had the full administrative work. So it was more like you're doing administration.
It's going to come back on. It's a network problem. Please hold on. He'll be back. He'll be back soon. I hope we all are benefiting from this webinar. Please let me know your thoughts. You can unmute your mic. You can unmute your mic. You can. Okay. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Let's just wait for a while. We have 10 more minutes.
Okay, before he comes in, if you understand the 4 quadrants that he showed in the previous slide, could you please indicate in the chat section or unmute your mics? Okay, thank you very much, Audu. You see, you understood it. So I'm going to assume that since I haven't gotten other responses, I'm going to assume that most other persons got it. Yes. So, and one key point to note, like one thing I also jotted down from what he said previously is there is only going to be one 29th of September 2020. So that's how important time is. Okay, he's here. He's back. Thank you.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Sorry, we had a little glitch here. Okay, so sorry for that. So I was sharing my experience on how somehow by nature we are all multiple skilled in managing time. So then I was handling that, and I was also in school. And at the time, I had to tell them and said, "See, I need to drop out of this whole thing. I think I need to focus on my studies." And someone made a statement to me. He said, "Osahon, one day God's going to lift you so high that you're going to be in the place of power, probably a national leader at the time. You're also going to be a father. You're also going to be somebody's husband. You're also somebody's son. How would you quit one of these roles just because? Will you quit being a servant in a public place because you want to be a father and you want to be a husband? Don't you think every skill you're gaining today would help you become that big picture, become whatever you are going to become? So that's when that statement kind of placed, it showed a different perspective to me altogether at the time. So whether you like it or not, we are all serving multiple roles in society, and the aspect of time management is something that, if well managed, we can do just fine. We can do just fine. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed that experience. So for me, I feel or I've come to understand that um, we can't run away from different tasks, different or attending to multiple tasks. As time goes on, we'll be faced with managing our time and learning how to um, learning how to be more productive, even though we have so many things that is important and urgent and important but not urgent. So I gained that from this webinar, and I want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
So
much.
this is how we bring um,
We have a
an
question.
end
Someone has
to this
a
webinar.
question.
Okay, okay. Um,
Okay, Desmond.
I can't see the question.
Mitchell, please, you can take your question.
Okay, good evening. So my name is Mitchell, and I totally enjoyed today's lecture. My question is this: how do one tackle attention span deficiency? Because there's so much to do, and there's so much you want to do. There's so much to be done, and there's so much you want to do. So there's this drag for your attention here and there. But how can you just stay put and just keep checking things off your timeline, like, or your the checklist that you've made? So that's my challenge, and I wish I would get like a practical response, right? I know, yes, you can make your priority list, but sometimes it's just difficult, putting your attention in one place and getting things done when there are so many things to be done. So what have you done in recent times to tackle that challenge, if you experience it as me?
Okay, for attention span, um, I won't say I've had that as a major problem. Yes, I've experienced it, but not as a major problem. But I have a friend who who seem to be experiencing that. And what she does is this: she just gets in the office. So somehow in the middle of work, we just get talking, and in the midst of all those talking, and when the gist is becoming sweeter, she can't really focus on the work that she has to do. So somehow she just gets herself, secludes herself to a different office or a different room, lock herself there, and do the task she has to do that's on our table. So it depends on how you tend to experience those difficulties. In my opinion, if it's for the aspect of having lots of noise, because when you say attention span, it differs. Is it distraction per time when you're working on something, or um, distraction in the sense that there are a lot of things that are just there? So, Mitchell, I would love to gain context to that question.
Okay, let me be more personal with it. In my own
Okay,
case, I'm seeing what I want to do. For instance, now I want to write a story.
okay,
I've written out all the things I want to write about. But
okay.
I don't know, like I just can't get myself to really do it. Like maybe for instance, like, I would just pick up my phone and I am okay, I want to go straight to WhatsApp to get maybe one particular information, and there is Instagram and there is email and there is something else. So like so these days I am finding it really difficult to just put my mind like into, and I'm doing many things at the same time. So and I have the same deadline for all of them. So it's not distraction per se. It's more like I don't know if it's a brain thing, but I just want to do tidbits of all of them, and I end up not doing any one.
So this is what I think. I think somehow the first step in handling this thing, you already know it, which is creating the list. Whether you like it or not, that's just the first step, and which I believe you're already doing, like you said. But the next step is um, closing your doors. For me, one of the ways I try to handle that, because recently I've had that challenge with, especially with social media, is I put off my network, my internet network. I put it off before I sleep. So when I wake up, I don't see mails, I don't see WhatsApp messages, I don't see all those stuff popping up my face. So I put those things off. Then I try as much as possible to delay putting it on, and try to articulate everything I need to do. Then optimize my morning hours, because somehow, if your morning hours are frustrated, trust me, I don't know about you, how it works for you as a person, but for me, my morning hours are frustrated, it means I'm frustrated for that day. You get? So I've tried to master that aspect of optimizing my morning hours, reducing. Sometimes I can even get to work before I put on my WhatsApp message, my internet, before I get all those messages, to make sure that yes, I've done everything I've articulated. This is what I want. This is what I want out of my time, and this is what. So there is no one method to it. It's first of all understanding yourself. For me, I've understood myself that if I start my day with social media, even if I'm bathing, I may get distracted. If I hear one notification, I say, let me bathe first and go and check the phone. So you get it. So I don't know how it works for you, but for me, I've learned to put off my internet for social media, because I know it's a problem. It's becoming a problem for me. Put off my internet when I'm sleeping. So when I wake up, I don't see lots of notification. Then make sure I run through my day for a long time before putting on my internet. So probably when I get to the office also. So that's how I've been able to handle mine. Then, since you already know, yes, you have these activities, another method could be creating an environment that is a little bit productive, and also creating a reward system. So those two, I believe, works. One, creating an environment that is conducive. For example, if you're into creative writing, like you said, creative writing actually requires a whole lot of imagination, energy, and ambience. That's just my thoughts anyway. So create that environment that enables you to do those tasks, and as well make sure that you have those doors locked. So that's it. I hope this was helpful, Mitchell.
Yes, sir, it is. It was rather. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osaram, for this webinar. Like I said before at the beginning, I mentioned that I work with Study Hub Digital Academy, and there are skills you can learn. The skills are on the chat session there. It's listed there, so you can check them out. All right. So thank you so much, and this is how we'll say goodbye.
Thank you very much. So, Ebele will get to share the slide, right?
Yes, I will.
Share the slide to everyone so we
I
just
will.
get that model worked up. Thank you, and thanks
All
for the
right.
time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.